Morning, RaptorFreak Alexiot's here. It's Wednesday, and we lost to the Bulls yesterday. It could have been way worse than it was looking like. We did claw and fight back and ended up only losing by 10 points, which says something. But still, we lost that game pretty bad, like right in the middle of it. There were a lot of different reasons why we lost. The main reason why I think we lost is because we didn't have anybody step up and be a leader throughout the meat of the middle of the game. The beginning of the game, Delano Banton came out and led strong right away, and we jumped out to a really good early lead. And he was the most dominant player on the court right away at the beginning of the game. And then we did some substitutions, and this is the same thing that happened in the last game. We did our first substitutions and brought certain players off the bench, and there was a huge drop off in quality of play by the Raptors. And it was really bad this time because he kind of took out Delano and Christian Coloco at the same time. And one thing I will tell you, even though yesterday was a big fail, like we lost, we found out a lot of different things yesterday about certain things. And one of them is that when you have Christian Coloco in the game, you have a certain defensive presence that really, really changes how the other team can score. And when he wasn't in the game, Chicago was having a real easy time scoring on the Raptors yesterday. And that was a difference. And that was something that I noticed with Coloco in. We had way better defense and that they weren't scoring so easily down near the basket. And then when he came out, they were having a field day. Chicago just opened it up and was just going crazy. So let's see. Monique is here. Monique is saying, can't dig themselves a big hole like that in the regular season. They were lucky they came back because we never gave up. 10 points loss. They will learn from it. Hello, Ryan Hawkins and Delano Banton. Yes, the last quarter of that game yesterday, we outscored them 28-12. And that was a valiant effort by the guys who were just getting a chance to come in and show something and kick some butt at the end and try and make up for this 30-point deficit. The fact that they made up for 20 points in the second half, the secondary guys try and work their ass off, is a huge accomplishment in some ways. That we got the lead for them down to 10 by the end of the game, 93-83, is actually really good. And part of it was Ryan Hawkins. What an interesting little shooting display by him at the end of the game. It was kind of like we had Delano really dominant at the beginning of the game, and then nothing in the middle the whole game. And then right at the very end of the game, Ryan Hawkins getting steals and popping these deep threes at the top of the key that looked so nice. Like those were nasty shots. And they were making Nick Nurse and Adrian Griffin and Nate Bjorngren all look twice and be like, whoa, look at this kid. Look at the way he's shooting. And he had a really interesting interview after the game also. He said that he is just trying to show that he is a phenomenal shooter to our coaching staff, and that is his strategy to make it on the team, is to show that he is that kind of shooter that we may need on our team. So Ryan Hawkins, you definitely raised a lot of eyebrows and got some attention yesterday. Good job by you. And that wasn't very cool to see you score 9 points in like less than a minute, really, is how long it took you to do that. G's saying, is Ryan really like that? I'm wondering about that. I mean, it could be that he really is that kind of one-trick pony, G, that he is kind of just, a shooter, and then he's not going to give you that much versatility otherwise all around. As far as he's not super athletic. You can tell that by his body, but he is a dead-eye shooter. So I don't know. This could be very similar to kind of a Sam Decker kind of situation like last year, that kind of thing. But man, that shooting display at the end of the game was absolutely fantastic, and I loved seeing it. I totally loved seeing it. It was really badass. All right, let's keep looking at the game. Coloco, his stats weren't as good as on Saturday, but he still had 3 blocks again. Like he's averaging 3 blocks a game right now, which is super fantastic. He got a 3-pointer, guys. They dared him to shoot a 3, and he took it and he nailed it. And that was the only 3 he took. And that was kind of cool to see that, like, you're going to dare Coloco to take an open 3-pointer and he'll hit it. that he did that. And that was real nice. I really liked seeing that. But once again, his shooting wasn't very good. He was 2 of 8 for the field. He's going to get up over 50%. Watch. Trust me, he will. And then he missed all 3 of his free throws. That's just concentration at the line, just kind of trying to do things a little bit smarter. He could have had way more rebounds than just 4 rebounds. But, all together, Koloko wasn't one of the worst guys out there. As I said before, he was one of the few guys who could actually make an impact on Chicago's offense and stuff like that. And actually, really, they were having a harder time scoring when he was out there. And that was evidence and noticeable. So Monique saying Delano will be in the rotation for sure. Yeah, I think so. I think that, Delano is really showing that he's made progress with his game this summer. He's looking bigger on his arms. He's looking a little bit more like reeled in and not so wild and making better decisions. And I really like his no quit with the offensive rebounds in the game last night. There were a couple times where I think DJ Wilson was trying to put a shot up. He missed, and then Delano got in there and grabbed the rebound and put it back himself. So there's a lot of different things that Delano's doing in Summer League right now that is really good. And honestly, even though they lost yesterday, he did look good. He was 6 of 15, 3 3-pointers. I love the early 3-pointers that he hit. He hit all of his free throws, which is really good. 3 offensive rebounds for 4 rebounds altogether, 5 assists, 2 steals. He had 18 points. So Delano was one of the few bright spots in the game yesterday. But once again, there was nothing in the middle. His leadership was really good at the beginning of the game. Maybe we needed one of the other guys to step up and do something like Downton did last time, or Armani. It could have even been Ron Harper Jr. this time. Just somebody to fill in the blanks in the middle of the game where the Bulls were just – because you know what? The Bulls didn't even have that good of a team. They were playing better than us. They shot better than us. They hustled better than us. But they didn't really have anybody that was stepped up like Isaiah Joe did on Saturday for Philly and absolutely killed us. There's nobody on the Chicago team that really stood out statistically. I mean, there's that Jones guy who got 17 points, and he made all of his shots, and that's fantastic. He stuffed the stat sheet, but really there was nobody really dominating from the other side. And yesterday's game was a perfect opportunity for somebody on the Summer League team to take that brass ring and show that I'm the dominant guy and win this game for us. Well, none of that happened. That's disappointing. It smacks of our bench last year is what happened in the game yesterday, that we had a lot of energy like our bench did last year, and that's no good. We need guys that take initiative, are ballers that want to score, that want to make an impact on the game, that want to make a name for themselves, that want to go out there and hit important, crucial shots to get us back in the game. And nobody was doing that yesterday. The opportunity was there for any of them to do it, like Armani did on Saturday. Armani failed in this game. He did not hit his shot like he did on Saturday. And it's too bad because he had built something up in the first Summer League game. And then this one, he had a hard time hitting the basket. He was 2 for 6. He got 2 free 3-pointers, which were crucial at times, but just 8 points, 2 steals and 1 assist, really a barren stat sheet for Armani Brooks. And that's too bad because, like I said, he had an amazing game on Saturday, and he couldn't build off of it. It's too bad. G saying the defense overall was not good. Yeah. But did you notice what I was saying, G, about Koloko when he's in there and when he isn't? The defense was super bad when Koloko wasn't in there, but it was fairly okay when he was in there. At least there was some sort of stopper, some sort of big guy. There's times when this Raptors Summer League team looks like the main roster team with their length and getting in the passing lanes and getting deflections. I want to see more of that. That in the first Summer League game against Philadelphia, that was how we were having a lot of success, was jumping into the passing lanes, half playing. Like Ron Harper Jr. in particular was really smart with where he was playing. Like he's the kind of player that knows where to be at all times on the court. Like he just knows. He's not worried about like, oh, should I be here? He's not wishy-washy. He knows how to play team defense in the best way from what I'm seeing. And that's the kind of stuff I want to see more of, is these Raptors getting their hand on the ball and getting more active and doing that kind of stuff. There was none of that. We weren't the more aggressive team. Chicago was the more aggressive team, and that's why they won and stuff like that. So it is what it is. G saying Downton still stands out to me. Yeah, Downton was okay. Let's look at his stat sheet. 7-11, that's great shooting once again. 2 of 4 from the three-point range, 16 points. He only had 2 assists this time, which is too bad because I would have liked to see him get that assist number up again, like around 9, like he had in the last game. But he was a +4 out of all of our players. He was one of the few guys who was a plus, and that's really good. The shooting was really good. So Downton was definitely a bright spot along with Delano. So we can't get down on Downton. So that's good. Monique saying Ron Harper Jr. already signing autographs. Well, of course he's signing autographs. I mean, this man was a Rutgers legend. He's just a fun, cool dude. And his dad is very, very famous. So, he did have a nice line there. I saw on his Instagram, he had a line all the way down the hall, people signing his autographs and stuff like that. And his brother Dylan's there hanging out with him, stuff like that. I really like Ron Harper Jr. Like, let me just look at him. Like, as you guys name them, I'll just look at their stat lines. 22 minutes for Ron Harper Jr. 2 of 4. He hit a 3, which was good. Finally saw him get good 3 in. 3 rebounds and 1 turnover, -13, 5 points. See, he could do so much more. He could do so much more. Like, I can see what he's doing as far as like playing off the rest of the team on defense and just doing different things on the offensive end, stuff like that. But he's not stepping up and saying, I'm going to take charge. Like, this could have been a game last night where Ron Harper's really imprinted his what he wanted on the game harder. And he didn't do it enough, in my opinion. But it wasn't a horrible game for him. I mean, he didn't shoot super horrible. He made 2 out of 4 shots, which is pretty good. And it was nice to see him hit a 3, as I said, but he did not step up. He did not do any of the stuff that I was calling out for as far as somebody just being a hero. We needed another hero, Tina Turner, and we didn't get that other hero yesterday, which was too bad. Monique's also saying, what did you take away from Bobby and Chris's interview during the game? Great interviews. Great interviews. Bobby Webster, class act, fantastic, just so good with those announcer guys. And, they were a little bit more respectful this time, this crew, than the Steve Smith crew. And I appreciate that from them. They were a little bit, even though we were getting our butt kicked, they didn't kick the Raptors while they were down during the game, which was nice. And they did say a lot of nice things about our team also. So I have to give credit to that announce team. But Bobby Webster just towing the line, saying the normal kind of things that he would say. They're once again saying they really like their team and stuff like that. And, he had a lot of interesting things to say. Bobby Webster, and always glad to hear more from him. And as far as Chris's interview, he was just reiterating a lot of what he said to Savannah Hamilton and different people in interviews recently about how he wanted to stay in Toronto. Toronto is the only place he wanted to be, that he feels like he fits in there. He's very happy to be in Toronto, and Toronto's a city. And I appreciate Chris for that also. And it was cool that NBA TV interviewed Chris during our summer league game, because he doesn't always get that kind of spotlight from the main NBA. And the fact that they were interviewing Chris Boucher on that was really good. It was really good. But once they didn't show our Raptors that were at the game watching it, like Pascal was there, Chris was there, Scotty was there. They did show Scotty for a little bit on the bench, sitting with Nick Nurse and RJ Barrett's dad and stuff like that. But they didn't really show any of the other Raptors who were also there watching the game, which was like Pascal, Chris Boucher. I'm pretty sure Precious was there also, but I didn't see him for sure. But yeah, very interesting, good interviews during the game, and much better NBA TV crew yesterday too. Patrick Douglas, good morning, good to see you. Dieting is in. Don't know why our coach likes David Johnson so much. Ryan shows quality. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, all right. I'm glad you brought up David Johnson, Patrick Douglas, because I think that the time has come for him. Listen, he's once again kind of like Ron Harper. He had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of amazing things for us yesterday with time, and he absolutely failed left and right. Him and DJ Wilson in particular were absolutely dreadful yesterday, with the turnovers, with the missed shots, just with not looking good at all. And David Johnson, man, you don't look like you belong in the NBA right now. You really don't. Like, I think that you probably don't have a spot on this team. It's unfortunate because you're a nice guy. You're a super smart dude. And I really like you as a person. But, dude, I don't think you got the right level to make the roster for the Raptors And, us having you on the 905 for another year, I don't even know if that's worth it either. So, the writing's on the wall, man. You've gotten 2 games and you're getting minutes in both these games, and you have not shown anything good or productive, David. And I'm sorry, man, but like your time may be up for the Raptors after 1 year, and that's just too bad. Yeah, I like Ryan Hawkins. He showed some quality shooting. One thing we have to temper our expectations with what Hawkins did at the end of the game there is that it was an out of hand game situation. It was a little bit of garbage time. The defensive intensity by the Bulls wasn't that great at that point, and he was getting completely wide open shots out there with the defense not set on him. So he can look real good if he's absolutely wide open hitting those shots. So we have to temper our expectations for what Hawkins did at the end of the game with that and what was happening in the game at that time. Leslie Hart is here. Good to see Leslie. The Raptors are trying to get the next bench mob. Yeah. I want this bench mob to be all 6'9", though. I want them all to be like super tall guys. Make them the whole bench a bunch of wings. I would love that. G saying, did you see Scotty respond to the league alerts post on Raptors not trading him for KD? He said we knew this in his wording. Listen, he's so confident, and he's with the coaching staff, sitting there with them. Everybody's in contact. I love this strategy by the Toronto Raptors franchise to keep people in the loop, keep people in the know, keep people close, and then they don't worry or fret about any of this noise with Kevin Durant or any of this kind of worry and stuff like that. It's really good that Gary Trent has been around the team this past week in Las Vegas. It's really good that Scotty has confidence and is showing that he is confident that he is not going to get traded from the Raptors. This is good stuff. This is the stuff that makes our foundation and our team strong, is that we have trust between each other, and we need to keep that trust, Bobby and Masai. So don't trade any of these guys without letting them know and doing it properly. If you do a trade for Kevin Durant, but I don't think it's going to happen, guys. Like Adam Silver's come out and said that he does not like this Kevin Durant situation. He is not liking that Kevin demanded a trade so early in his contract, and that he is going to try and figure out ways to remedy these kind of situations developing with players on contracts that just started with new teams. So, yeah, Adam Silver's not happy about the Kevin Durant situation. And, there could be some real looking over of any kind of deal that happens. And, there could be something like a Chris Paul thing that happens where Chris Paul got traded to the Lakers and they denied the trade because of it. So we need to worry about that also. So it's looking more and more like Kevin Durant may have to be on the Nets next season, because different things happening in the last couple of days. Monique saying, so Josh Lewenberg doesn't see Justin Champagnie in the mix anymore in the summer league roster, right up for TSN. Wow, Lewenberg saying that. Well, I see it too. I really do. Like, listen, Justin, you came in last year and you had a fire in you. You had a dog in your fight that we all loved and fell in love with right away. The way you attacked the rim for offensive rebounds, the way you would hit these crazy threes every once in a while, the way you just had a very do or die attitude and a very, very strong confidence in yourself. Well, there's been a couple of things that have happened in the last year that's kind of made me kind of like scratching my head about you. Like, listen, I can understand, like, it's kind of silly for you to start off at the beginning of your tenure with the Raptors calling Pascal Siakam your son, because Pascal Siakam is nobody's son on this team. I'm going to tell you right now, this man, you are his son. I'm sorry. If it's going to get right down to it, somebody's somebody's son, Pascal, you are his son. Because Pascal's the man. Pascal's all NBA. Pascal's an all-star. Pascal has a championship ring. You have nothing, Champagnie. So what are you doing? You're barely on the team. You need to stop being so cocky. You need to stop acting like you have some weight to throw around trying to say that everybody's your son, because nobody's your son on this team. You haven't proved anything to say that you can say that Ron Harper Jr. is your son, that Christian Vital is your son. You cannot say this anymore, Justin, because you ain't done nothing lately, Janet Jackson. You ain't done nothing for us lately. Do, 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 do. And during the end, like at the end of the season, you were in that group with Malachi and Svi and Yuta that was just kind of not doing anything for us as bench production in the second half of the season. So you are not in the same kind of boat as Delano Banton. You are in a boat where you have not done anything for summer league because you broke your thumb, and that is bad. And if Lewinberg's already counting you out, I'm already counting you out also, because we need to see an improvement from you. We need you to show something more than what you were showing last season to keep you around, because the Raptors are a developing team and you need to develop. And if you're not developing at a certain pace, there's going to be other guys that may come in and develop faster than you. So that's what I'm going to have to say to Justin. I don't like you doing this. And maybe this is part of your insecurity about your position on the team right now, with you jumping into people's interviews and sunning them and stuff like that. Just stop, dude. It's a bad look. You look desperate, you look insecure, and you're not looking good in the eyes of us because you're not doing anything on the court. Everything you're doing is on the outside of the court, and it's talking trash that you can't really back up. So that's what I'll say to Justin Champagnie right there. And I agree with Lewinberg that I don't want him on the roster next season right now. He's on my out of the team kind of list right now. And I hate to say it because I know he's really close friends with Delano. But in some ways, you know what, Justin, you're kind of that cocky that Scotty Barnes does not like on his team, is what I'll say also. And Scotty has said in the Twitch in the last week, he does not like cocky people that are cocky and they can't back it up. And Justin, you're a little too cocky right now. I'm going to say that right now. Shane Waters is here. Good morning, all. Where is OG, though, Lex? I don't know where OG is, and we all want to know where he is. We want this to put to rest. I was just talking about keeping people close, keeping them in the loop, keeping them shown. Well, maybe OG is in the loop, but silently and secretly and privately, because he is dealing with his own life and wants to be private in his off season. He doesn't want to be on Twitch. He doesn't want to be all over Instagram. He doesn't want people to know where he is. He's just taking his summer and having a good time. And I've heard rumors that he is here in Toronto, though. But that may not be true. I have no idea where OG is right now. And it is sad and it's weird. And a lot of people that are big fans of him are calling out. We want to see where OG is right now, just for our own peace of mind as far as what's going on with him with this team and stuff like that. Guardian Transit, good to see you again here. I'm glad to see you over and over again this week so far. I am all in on Ryan Hawkins. Boy, can shoot the ball. Yeah, I can vaguely remember him from his college days, seeing this dude kind of bomb it and do things like this. Yeah, and the thing about those threes last night, they weren't like close to the three-pointer threes. These were closer to half-court kind of threes. And you can really tell he's confident and he's a dead eye because of his shot, the way that he releases it, the way he shoots it really fast, and the way it goes in. It's like, and all three of those shots looked identical. And that's a dead eye giveaway that this is a really good shooter, that he has a mastered technique of his shot, and the way he carries his body with this shot is the same. It's textbook every time. So that is a good sign of a good shooter. So yeah, I'm really looking at him. Right now, he's higher on my power rankings to make the team than Justin Champagnie. Ryan Hawkins, if he can give us some sort of kind of outside shooting like that, hell yeah, I'm all about him. I'm with you, Guardian. I'm with you. G saying Pascal saying he has taken another step is exciting. It is. And you know what? Listen, we cannot take this lightly. Like, this is not lip service. He wouldn't be saying this if he didn't feel confident that he could do it, because he doesn't want to set himself up for failure. He believes it. And I believe him, because the thing is that at this point in his career, with what he's done with his spin moves and his unstoppableness, his OP moves, as Scotty calls them, is that he is now at the point where he can really fine tune things and get even better still. Like, people don't think he's hit his ceiling. He's hitting his head, and this is as good as he can get. You're wrong, because this is the thing. This man's a cerebral hard worker. And when you put those together in the off season and you get somebody like Rico Hines next to him, telling him the direction he should be going to get even better, look out. And I really believe this. And I really do think, it's going to be his 3-point shooting that's going to open his game up. And then once again, Otto Porter Jr. and other guys around him are shooting better also. It's just going to make Pascal's life so much easier on the offensive end. And we could see him be more efficient with his scoring, and not so much of these like plays where we see him come down and maybe he loses the ball, or maybe he just takes a shot and he just barely misses it. This is what DeMar did over the years as a Raptor. He was so close to making certain crazy shots, and then they just roll out and stuff like that. But then the next year he came back and he had cleaned that up. And those shots that used to roll off the rim and go out, they were actually falling then. So that's what I'm saying. There's little small tinkering that Pascal can do with his decision making in the moment and different things. And look out. If he's better at 3-point shooting this year, he's already fulfilling what he's saying. Like if he's a way better 3-point shooter than he was last year, then yeah, he's already taken that step with that. Patrick Douglas, good morning. Good to see you. Let's say anybody wanting spots got to excel at playing wing defense. That's our goal. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with this, Patrick. You got to be able to be versatile to be on the Raptors. And the less versatile you are on the Raptors, the less likely you can make the team. So if you're not versatile, you better be a specialist. You better be somebody who's super, super good at something like Ryan Hawkins is with deep shooting, like Justin Champagne's supposed to be with offensive rebounding. So if you can't be a long arm monster, a regular 6'7", like all around player like OG and Scotty and Precious, then you better have a specialty and you better be overpoweringly well good at it. And it'd be the way you can make the team. Those are the only two ways you can do it. You got to have a really good something, or you got to be all around good. Monique's saying my top priorities are Ron Harper Jr., Jeff, Delano, DJ, decision. Okay, so Monique right now, she's making cuts. She's keeping Ron Harper Jr., she's keeping Jeff Doughton Jr., Delano Banton, and DJ Wilson. And that's not bad. Although I kind of come down on DJ Wilson some for last night. I'm like, all right, listen, he was 4 for 9, which isn't bad shooting. He actually looked worse shooting than 4 for 9. He could have, he did miss 5 shots, which he could have shot way better. 2 for 4, though. I like the 3-pointers, though, that he took. He had one that he shot with a guy in his face, and he nailed it, and that was really good. He did get 5 rebounds, 2 assists, but he had 6 turnovers, and he was a minus 22. And you could tell that DJ Wilson at times just last night was forcing his game in the game, that he wasn't letting it come easy to him. And one of the things that Trevor Gleason said after the game was that too much of our guys were trying to play one-on-one and beat people one-on-one. And that is not Raptors basketball. They have to play off each other and use each other to get easier shots. And that was too much of us kind of trying to isolate, maybe post or back down or drive around people and stuff like that. Whereas we should have been passing it more, and there should have been way more assists. So it's like, this is a classic game where the other team outshot us and out-hustled us and just played better team ball than us. And then nobody on our team was playing together. We had poor defense, and we didn't shoot as well as them. And these are really big reasons why we're down by 30 in the middle of the game, is stuff like that. So DJ, you really, really got to calm down. You have the contract. Now you're playing like you're scared and you're worried and stuff like that. We can't have you have imposter syndrome. You have to be out there and be solid. And listen, you don't have to overdo it. Don't overdo it. Let the game come to you and pick your spots and just excel in those moments. Don't try and do too much over that, because that's when you start to look really bad. And that's what was happening in the game against Chicago yesterday, is that you were doing too much in the game. You wouldn't let the game come to you naturally, is what I'll say, and stuff like that. But I like your list. And I think DJ, because he's got the contract already, is probably already in there. But the first 2 games of Summer League have not looked good for him. And he needs to have a good game before the Summer League's over. Because then there may be a little bit of buyer's remorse right now with Raptors Nation as far as him getting signed a contract like he just did last week. That they're seeing how he's playing in Summer League, and they're like, ugh, this is cringe. And like, I don't know, DJ Wilson. Tom Duke is here. Tom Duke is saying OG is going to be so involved next season, I promise. And so he can take some time now to try out new scarves and such. Good morning. Yeah, this is important what Tom's saying. It's like OG needs time off. He's getting his new fashion on for next year. He's doing whatever he's doing. He's visiting with friends and family. He's, whatever he needs to do to recharge. Maybe he needs to go away, so he's not even listening to any of this trade talk. Then maybe he's just on an island away from everything social media, and he doesn't give a shit, that he's just living his life and training and enjoying himself and keeping in good shape. And part of him staying in good shape is not mentally getting bogged down with all the crap, because I think he's like Kawhi. I think he's one of these guys that doesn't really do social media at all. That he's just not on there looking at any of it or paying attention to any of it or not really giving a crap about it. So I hope he's like that, because there's so much out there that's annoying right now. All right, G bringing it up. Cereal or milk first? Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but there's been another person who's chimed in on this. That, after they asked them about the cereal or milk, and Coloco being the only one who puts the milk in first, and everybody looked at him like, "You're a weirdo. You're a weirdo, Coloco. Why are you putting the milk in and then pouring the cereal in on top of the milk?" And he said, "Well, I'm a weirdo then." He owned it. He's like, this is a little bit like Chris Boucher. He's like, "You know what? I'm weird. I'm unusual. I'm the only person, but I embrace it and I'm proud of myself." Well, Coloco's showing that same kind of thing. It was like, "Okay, so I'm weird. I think a hot dog's a sandwich and I pour my milk in the cereal bowl before the cereal. So what? I'm weird." And then I started thinking, well, is this something because of where he's from? That, like in Cameroon, that's what everybody does? That they pour the milk in the bowl first and then the cereal? No, this is not true. It's just Christian is weird, because Pascal came out with a TikTok the next day with him. He was mimicking that famous dude, the most famous, most like rich TikToker in the world. That dude who presents and does this kind of stuff. Well, Pascal did his own little video of it yesterday, where he took the milk, he poured the cereal in first, and then he poured the milk on top of the cereal, and then he did the without saying anything. So Pascal chiming in on this, saying, "Look, Christian is not a normal Cameroonian. All right, so don't think that it's our country that does it this way," because that's what Pascal came in and showed. I love that Christian is weird, and maybe it's just like they're catching him off guard, like with these gorilla questions when they're coming out the door, and he's like, Christian does it. He's just off guard. He's just answering. He's like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll just say this," and he's just owning it after he says it, even though maybe he's like, "Why did I say it that way?" And that's wrong like that. Whatever. Let him be him. I love who he is so far. He's a badass. So it's all good. Shane Waters is here at Tom. I want to see OG rocking those scarves sidelines at a summer league game for peace of mind. Man, not in Las Vegas. Scotty's been complaining about how hot it is there in Vegas right now. It's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit over there. Like, we don't need OG running around in no scarf in the hot Vegas sun. I'm going to tell you that right. And he does not need a scarf in LV. So no, Shane, I'd say no on this, man. It would look weird. It would look really weird, especially because it's the desert and everybody's wearing t-shirts and shorts most of the time, like there and stuff like that. So let's see. Monique is saying, Ryan Hawkins will get picked up by a team, if not by the Raptors. I think maybe we'll see. He does have some deficiencies to his game, guys. We have to say this. Like, he's not the fastest dude in the world. That's the thing you got to see, is like the whole package. He may have a really good strength, but there may be some weaknesses that cause some problems the other way and stuff like that. So Patrick's saying, just give David Johnson's minutes to Ryan Hawkins and we'll see a difference. It was garbage time, but he did it. Yeah, and he was trying his damnedest to make us look better and get us back in the game. Like, in his mind, he was probably thinking, I'm going to still try and win this game, even though there's only 90 seconds on the clock and we're down by 15. I'm going to still like just keep bombing and trying to do this. And I love that. And Scotty loved it. Like, and it was cool. Scotty stayed until the very end of the game. Those guys stayed. They were getting blown out. They could have easily just got up out of their seat and said, this is embarrassing. I don't even want to be here and see this disgrace, and just left the Thomas and Max Center. But no, they stayed until the very end. And when Hawkins was hitting his shot, Scotty was going crazy on the sideline. He was like, yeah, he was jumping up and like cheering him on. And just from watching him on 2K, we know this, like Shane and Click and some of us that are there, Sonny, that he really gets crazy when good plays happen for his team in 2K. Like, he can get very cheerleading, kind of like excited up, like out of his seat kind of thing. So when it's happening in real life with the team, Raptors team in summer league, he gets all behind it, like the Ryan Hawkins stuff at the end. It was really cool. Guardian saying DJ looked overwhelmed at times. He did. He looked overwhelmed. He looked slow. He didn't look good down near the basket at all. Like, he looked better outside with his 3-point shot than he did in the low post. They tried to post him at one point, and his shot looked ugly. Coloco had a nice little baby hook at one point, but it didn't go down. But it was nice to see him flash that offensive move at one point, just kind of take one-handed and kind of flip it over his shoulders and try and hit the shot, but he didn't make it. But yeah, DJ did look overwhelmed. I'll agree with that. Leslie's saying if you want to play for the Raptors, defense is everything for a Nick Nurse team. Yeah, defense was lacking in a lot of different ways in that game yesterday. I mean, the fact that all right, Chicago scored 28 and 29 points in the middle quarters. And this is the thing. These aren't 12-minute quarters. They're playing 10-minute quarters in Summer League. And you see how quick that halftime is. They're taking like 5 minutes for halftime, and then they're going right back out on the court. So these games are really compressed and compact time-wise compared to a regular season game. And, we did okay. Like Chicago only scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. And that was a big, huge part about our comeback and trying to win this game. But 18 points in both the second and third quarter, while they were scoring 28 and 29, that was a huge, huge deficit and difference in the middle of the game where we did not do enough and we didn't look good at any point. For pretty much like the first half of the first quarter, we looked great. And then the last quarter, we looked good. And then the rest of the game was absolutely dreadful for 2.5 quarters. So really bad. Tom Duke saying transition take fouls warrant one free throw to the offensive team, in addition to retaining the possession and a common foul assessed to the defending side. What do you think, Lex? Let me take a drink just real quick. I like the rule for sure, but I don't think it's enough. I think that they should give them 2 fouls and the ball. I think that this should be kind of like the whatchamacallit, the flagrant foul. That if the flagrant foul gives you 2 foul shots in the ball, they should do the same thing for this, because I don't think it's still enough. That they really, if they want to stop this transition foul that stops a fast break, that they need to make the penalty even harsher and make it the same as the flagrant fouls. And that just means just adding another free throw. So 2 free throws in the ball. I would back that up better. But that's pretty good. It's still a step in the right direction. And we'll see if it deters teams from doing that foul in this season coming up, because that'll be whether it's effective or not. If we see that it continuing to happen, then maybe they need to make the penalties stiffer and stuff like that. So Guardian saying, guys, we need a very capable 3-point shooter to open the floor. Yeah. And that's why it's like a lot of it is the guys that are in the core that are already on the team and established. It's not going to be somebody like Ryan Hawkins just adding him to the team. It looks good in summer league and stuff like that, but is it really translatable in a regular season game and things like that? Like Sam Decker can shoot the lights out, but is it still translatable with the athletes, the speed, the size, the strength of the regular NBA with the big time NBA players? That's what you have to wonder about, Guardian. So I like Gary Trent Jr. for this. I like Otto Porter Jr. for this. I like Fred VanVleet for this. I like OG Anunoby for this. So it's those shooters that are going to spread the floor and be the capable 3-point shooters for us this year, hopefully. Like if Gary's just less streaky, Fred is more catch and shoot and not dribbling so much, and then maybe he'll shoot even better percentage. Otto Porter Jr. is going to be solid no matter what. OG comes back. He has better health this season, and he's a dead eye for 3 still. These are the guys who'll do it. And then if Pascal and Scotty are better 3-point shooters coming back into this season, that will help even more too. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking at. G saying, I'm guessing is in the UK with family. I don't know how much of his family is actually in the UK anymore, G. I think that most of his family immigrated over to US, that all of his siblings are here in the US. So it would be, if the people that are in the UK would be like uncles and aunts, maybe. And that may not be where they are either. They could have been come over here too. I think his family's in Missouri mostly. And he spent a lot of off seasons here in Toronto. Like when he's been on the team, he hasn't left anywhere. He's been like Chris and Pascal and kind of made Toronto his off season home also. So, but he's so private, we don't know. He could be in UK. I have no idea where he is. Monique's saying David Johnson's legs look like sea legs, like they came from underwater. Yeah, he doesn't look good. Like the thing about him and Champagny is what I'm saying is they have to show that they've improved. And David Johnson looks just as the same as he did last summer. Like I know he was really valuable during the year in 905, and he had huge games. He won some games with game winners, and he had really big statistical games. But he did have inconsistent games where he didn't show up and do anything at all for the 905 also. And this is the David Johnson we're seeing so far in the summer league right now. This inconsistent one that doesn't show up and produce in a correct kind of way. And it's too bad. You can tell, like, him and DJ were both having like a section of time where they looked absolutely awful. And I'm like, these guys don't belong on our team, is what it looked like to me. Guardian thinks that OG's in the Muskokas. That could be. And OG in sundresses? What? Sundresses? Okay, G saying, Guardian, is he for real? He's like, no. Okay. Fake news. All right, let's see. Shane saying, I think Coloco is trolling. Yeah, he might be trolling when he's talking about hot dogs or sandwiches and stuff like that. But then again, maybe not, because he has not been in North America for a super long time. He's been here, what, for 5 or 6 years, stuff like that. So it is all still kind of a foreign country to him in some ways, especially now that he's in Canada, going to be coming to Canada also. There's a new level of difference because he's been in the States, in California and Arizona, and now he'll be coming to Toronto after summer league's over. It'll be real nice to see him on this side of the border. Let's see. Guardian saying he's working on his handle. You're talking about OG or something? When we write in the comments, there's so many different subjects and we're jumping around. Make sure you put in that proper subject. Instead of just he, put in the name, just so I know exactly who you're talking about. Seymour saying Coloco didn't look engaged in the game yesterday. Looked not interested at all. That's an interesting take, Seymour. I think it's still this kind of thing where it's just he's orienting himself to the speed, size, and strength, and the difference in the game from college. And he's going to have growing pains, like normal big man growing pains. Like guards sometimes come in and they're already sound and they don't look so awkward. And we know that big men can come in and look really awkward and kind of out of place and not totally right away. And I think that this is just the normal big man transition kind of into the NBA kind of stuff. That we may see it in summer league, but then maybe he gets some time with the team in training camp. And then all of a sudden in preseason, a lot of this stuff is cleaned up and he looks like a totally more confident kind of player for us. That's what I'm really hoping. But this is going to be stuff that depends on whether he's going to get a lot of time on the main roster. Seymour, to me, is can he look like a sound regular NBA player and not make a lot of mistakes, not make a lot of dumb fouls, and play solid defense, rebound, block shots, and get some rotation minutes in that kind of role for us, because it's not totally necessary. If we have to stash him at the end of the bench and not use him much this season, there's nothing wrong with that. He can get heavy minutes in 905 and spot duty on the Raptors main roster here and there. Something similar to maybe what like Delano did last year with his minutes, something like that, like where he gets in most games and gets a taste of time, but he may only get like 5-7 minutes in some games. Stuff like that. So he better be interested, because if he's not interested, that's not gonna be good. But I think he is. I think it's just these jitters and orienting himself to the new game. So Monique's saying, sorry, I'm having a real problem with my throat right now. Let me just try and clear it. Monique is saying, so guys, out of all the interviews in the recent weeks by the Raptors, who stands out to you the most? All the interviews at like summer league, to me, maybe Jeff Downton. Really, I'm being honest. Like just the way he answered the questions, his confidence, his poise, the way he's played in both the games so far has showed that and translated to real confidence and poise, and just steady, like consistent contributing and smart decisions on the court. And that it was the same kind of in his interview. When he did his interview the other day, he was very confident, and he was that kind of guy who's like, yeah, I killed you guys in 905 last year when I was on the Lakeland Magic. And he's that kind of dude. So yeah, maybe Downton is the answer to my question from that question. G saying Fred's shooting and knee are looking great. Yeah, a lot of footage of Fred working out in Las Vegas, him in particular with Nick Nurse, doing things and stuff like that. Listen, Freddie is going to come back and he'll be healthier and better than ever. Watch, guys. Trust in Fred VanVleet to be that kind of leader and know his body, and to really rehab and recoup his knee and his body to be ready and be his best version of Fred VanVleet, and not the one we saw in the second half of the season last year. He will make people eat their words when he comes back healthy and he can actually play to the best of his ability, because his body will allow him to. So I'm excited about that because I love Fred redeeming his name with all the people that have slandered him in different ways this summer and stuff like that. So Seymour saying we started the game strong, 10-0, then we lost focus and defense was horrible. Bulls look better than they really are. They really aren't that good of a team. Like in a lot of different ways. Like I said, they didn't really have anybody overpower or overbeat us. We just rolled over and let them beat us. And Seymour's right. We absolutely came out there gangbusters, took a hold of the game, and by Delano doing what he was doing, and we were in control. And the announcer's like, well, Chicago's not really doing a lot. But then we kind of just like, I think it was really when we made our first substitutions. Like that starting lineup played really well to start. And then like we brought in David Johnson. And it all went to shit after that. I hate to say it. It had something to do with David Johnson when he came in the game. We lost all of our like competitiveness and winning mentality and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to pinpoint him specifically, but that was when everything started to go downhill. It was when we made our first substitutions and David Johnson and whoever else came in with him. I think it might have been it wasn't Downton. It was David Johnson and Armani that came in. And Armani is just as guilty. But I'm giving Armani a little bit of a break on this one because he was so good in the first Summer League game. That Armani was a lot like David Johnson last night. He failed also yesterday. So let's see. Leslie's saying, I love OG. He has such a dry sense of humor. He really does. He you know what? Honestly, I love people that aren't sarcastic. I love people that are straight up and real. And OG is the realest as you can get. Like you could ask him a question, try and be cheeky and smart, like, "Oh, what do you love about Texas?" And he's like really trying to answer it seriously, and like that's why he couldn't figure out what he could say because he didn't know what he loved about Texas. Oh, that's always gonna be a classic OG moment and stuff like that. So I love that. I love that. Let's see. Monique is saying Fred shooting the threes in practice like crazy. Yeah, he's gonna be really good at three again. All right, so Leslie's saying the sundress is referring to the show with Serge Ibaka. OG was hilarious. Was that the one, Leslie, when they were picking out clothes? Like it was like in a store. It may have been like it wasn't Armani. It was like a Holt Renfrew or something like that. And they were going and they were picking style out, and like Serge was bashing his picks and stuff like that. I think that's what you're talking about. I saw that clip. That was hilarious. It's from a couple years ago. Guardian saying cannot be playing Fred 40 plus minutes. Agreed. Yeah, there was no reason for him to be among the top leaders in minutes last year, other than we needed him to steady the ship. And then if we have more guys that are more capable and more deep bench with like good quality bench guys, then this should be avoided for this season. That ideally Fred should get around 30 to 35 minutes, in my opinion. And that if he's getting 40 or over, that's not good. That's not good. Seymour saying OG like women only in sundresses. That's what he said. He likes women in sundresses. I think women love wearing sundresses. A sundress usually means that they're getting to do some fun outdoor activity, maybe be at the beach or like the cottage or stuff like that. So yeah, okay, OG's into sundresses. So ladies, take note. If you're trying to get the interest of OG Anunoby, wear a sundress around him or maybe something like that. I don't know. Monique's bringing it up. All right, previewing tonight. Raptors are playing the Utah Jazz Summer League team tonight. No rest for us. It's a back-to-back. And this Summer League team for the Jazz is quite interesting. They have three players in particular that I'm looking at from their roster that's going to be a lot of fun to play against. Obviously, Taco Fall is going to be playing tonight against the Raptors. This is going to be a great test for Christian Koloko if he plays tonight. I'm hoping they play him because we really would see a good test for him. There is a possibility that they bench Koloko tonight, but I really don't want them to. Trevor Gleason, play him because I want to see him play against Taco Fall. I want to see him play against Kofi Coburn, who's they got Kofi Coburn, who was the other center that was kind of like looked at by us to possibly draft like Koloko. So I want to see a Coburn-Koloko matchup. And then finally, this is the other guy. They got Taco, they got Coburn, and they got Caboclo. That's right, Bruno Caboclo playing the Raptors tonight if they play him. But Bruno is on the Utah Jazz Summer League team. So this may be fun to see Raptor legend Bruno Caboclo and his new identity as a 7-year vet on the Summer League for Utah. So watching Bruno play the Raptors tonight, y'all, it's going to be fun. So we need to win this one. It's like, listen, you have to be undefeated in Summer League to get that Summer League ring. This is the first year they're giving out Summer League rings. And really, to win it, you have to be undefeated. So we're probably not going to win it just because we lost this game yesterday. We could go 3-1 now in our games, and it won't matter because we won't get to get the championship game because there'll be two other teams that go undefeated in their summer league play. This is like what happened last year with Boston and Sacramento going undefeated. And meanwhile, we were 4-1, and Scotty wanted to play for the championship in the summer league because he's that competitive. And then he was like, what? We don't even get to play in the finals? And it's like, yeah, because you have to be undefeated pretty much to play in the finals. So that's kind of what happened there. It's too bad. Six Canada is here. Good to see you, Six. He's saying Raptors need to sign Ryan Hawkins. People like this. Leslie's saying, yes. Yeah, Ryan Hawkins looked good. His interview was interesting, too. That he's saying that he understands that's his strength, is shooting, and he wants to show Nick Nurse and them that's what he does and make it tough for them to decide because this could be one of the shooters that could help us off our bench this season that we didn't have last year and stuff like that. So Patrick is saying substitutions, yes, and reliance on jump shots. Armani was getting the ball in bad spots. David just doesn't fit. Coach likes him, though. Yeah, you know what David Johnson was last season? You know, we had 2 picks in a row in the draft in the second round. We had the 45 pick and the 46 pick. And that was Delano Banton and then David Johnson right after him. And the Delano Banton pick was the one we really wanted, obviously, for obvious reasons. Toronto, for his body type and his skill as a player. But David Johnson was kind of like the pick right after him that we had to take the next pick and was kind of like the second afterthought. And I think that what they did at that point was let's just pick the absolute best player available that we think is available right now. And that was why they picked David Johnson. David Johnson doesn't necessarily fit in our scheme of things with the way we like to build our team right now. And that's why it was kind of like, okay, we're picking him because he's the best available. And well, we're seeing that the best available at 46 last year is at this point where he is right now and stuff like that. So it is kind of like, you know, I agree. David Johnson doesn't fit with the Raptors. He never really did, even last season. And that's probably part of the reason why he didn't play a whole lot on the main roster last season. He was really more a 905 guy. Armani was getting the ball in bad spots. I agree with that. But still, he missed wide open ones, and he was not the dead eye he was on Saturday. Like, I was talking him up to Stevie Roots came and watched the game with me yesterday. I was like, yeah, Armani killed it in the first game. He was absolutely killing it. And then he came out and he stunk in this one. And he didn't follow through on the great performance from Saturday, which is too bad. But, you know, that's what we're going to see, the consistency is that Armani can do this on some nights, but then some nights it's just, it's like yesterday. G saying, I think Utah is the only undefeated team or only one of them. Okay, so maybe we can be a spoiler and hurt Utah's ability to be the Summer League champion by beating them tonight. There we go. There's something to give them for motivation, Trevor Gleason. Tell them, it's like, look, Utah has done really well in Summer League. Let's mess them up. Let's not let them get the Summer League championship and stuff like that. I like that. Monique saying, like I always say about Fred, his minutes will be cut. Well, this is a similar situation to like the same thing that happened with DeMar and Kyle years ago, where we overplayed them during the season. We got in the playoffs and they were hurt and they looked like half themselves, and we got beat real bad in the playoffs. Usually got swept out or something like that in the mid 2010s. That this is the same kind of situation that happened last year with Fred. That he got overused during the regular season, he was hurt, and he was not effective in the playoffs. So hopefully the Raptors can utilize a similar strategy to what they did with Kyle and DeMar after that and limit their minutes and just keep them healthy. And even if it's just like resting them, hugely resting them in the last month of the regular season, just to give them a little bit extra time to heal for the playoffs and stuff like that, do that. Because Kyle Lowry would get a lot of Kawhi load management games. Once he played with Kawhi and saw how he did it, he's like, oh, I like load management. I hated it because Kawhi was doing it at first. But now that I'm doing it, Kyle's all about doing load management games. So Fred is probably going to get some load management at the end of the season, hopefully, if he's being overplayed at any kind of way this season. But we just need him to be healthy and no problems. Like the knee thing was a huge problem. It really slowed down his speed and his ability to keep up with somebody like Tyrese Maxey. So hopefully these will all change things and make things better. Marlon Toby, good morning. We need to see the other guys on the bench can offer, even if we have benched DJ Wilson. Yeah, I mean, listen, all right, we've seen a lot of these guys. I want to see Kajab. I want to see more Ryan Hawkins. I want to see Jalen Sims a bit more. I want to see Porter. Trey Porter was an interesting player out there. He looked slow getting up and down the court, but he did look like a big body, and he looked like he was a good rebounder, and he kind of a good defensive presence down low in those kind of ways and stuff like that. But yeah, we need to see more of those guys at the end of the bench that we didn't see a whole lot of as far as Kajab, Sims, Porter, Vital, Barcelo. Barcelo came in and there was something wrong with the court in Las Vegas. There was a slippery spot at one end because we saw Delano completely wipe out at one moment, and then Barcelo wiped out also at another moment, which was a really bad moment for Barcelo to wipe out because there was some seconds, not much time left, and he ate up some bad time because he fell on the floor. But that was because the floor was wet and it was annoying. But I want to see more Alex Barcelo. He didn't shoot a lot. He was more being a distributor yesterday in the bit of time that he played. He was being a real point guard and distributing the ball. He got in 4 minutes, he got 2 assists and he got a rebound. He was a plus 10 though. And once again, he was one of the few guys that was a plus on the team. And that was really because he was a part of that comeback in the fourth quarter. But he didn't shoot a single shot, and he got 2 assists in 4 minutes. So Barcelo, very interesting in that little bit of time. Kajab also was a plus 10. He only had 1 assist and a turnover and a foul. Not really super interesting. Trey Porter, 8 minutes, hit 1 basket. He was a plus 10, 2 rebounds. So it's not a whole lot of anything, but at least these guys were pluses instead of negatives like the negative 24 that David Johnson was or the negative 22 DJ Wilson was. That Jeff Downton was plus 4, Ryan Hawkins a plus 8, plus 10 Barcelo, plus 10 Porter, plus 10 Kajab, and a plus 4 for Sims. And then everybody else was negative as far as point differential. It was not good. Not good. So yeah, I want to see more of the other guys. But I would like to see tonight, specifically because we're playing Taco and Kofi Coburn. I want to see the bigger guys get some more minutes tonight, like Porter, Coloco. Who's the other big guy that we had playing for us right now? Well, Hawkins. Hawkins is kind of a big guy also. So hopefully we'll see him more tonight for sure. Seymour saying Banton is 12th in scoring. He needs to stay in attack mode. He must carry this squad. So he's 12th in scoring in the summer league. That's pretty damn good. I like that. And yeah, he needs to carry this team. And once again, I think that part of the success of the first game was him off the ball with Doughton being that point guard. That Doughton was just a really good, steady distributor with no turnovers. And that Delano was really nice as not having to carry the ball and being off the ball and being more of a scorer for the team. And I agree with this. Seymour, I think you're right that Delano needs to be as aggressive as possible, be selfish, be a ball hog. Take the ball and do what you want with it. Because once again, in the game yesterday, you showed yourself being able to beat your guy one-on-one with like quickness and then your length to get a layup and stuff like that. And that's this kind of stuff we like. It's like easy baskets from Delano Banton using his special body against other players and stuff like that with his combination of tall lankiness and speed. Monique saying, I'm glad Adam Silver doesn't like the KD talk as much as I do. Yeah, he doesn't like it at all. And he is going to look into this kind of stuff. He's always trying to do things to make the league better. And kudos to him for that and stuff like that. So, all right, let's keep going. Seymour saying, wow, Amy Otterbert got bigger. Damn, she better get ready for the long season. Oh, geez. All right, well, I don't want to comment too much, Seymour, on this. That's an interesting observation. I haven't seen her, so I don't know. But I mean, listen, she's a former basketball player and she's retired. So, if she goes a little bit of the route of Charles Barkley, she should be allowed that. And I will just say also, it's like, men and women get scrutinized in different ways for this kind of stuff. So I don't want to scrutinize her too much just for it's like, because it's, but listen, hey, if people see it and they observe it, it is what it is. You see it, whatever. But I don't want to talk about it too much. Yeah. Six Canada TV saying, in my opinion, Raptors need to cut Svi Mahalik, Flynn, DJ Wilson, and Brooks. Wow, Six Canada's cutthroat. He's cutting with the cutthroat mentality. I'm with you on a bunch of those names right there. Now, I think that DJ Wilson probably is going to get his chance to get a full time on the team, but he may be stashed at the very end of the bench. I think Armani may have like kind of earned a spot on the team in some ways, but I'm all about those other two names, like Malachi. Malachi. It's kind of like Svi, Malachi, Justin, David Johnson. These guys all need to show jumps, and they're not showing them. None of them so far, and that's it. Now, Yuta, he played against Kazakhstan yesterday, and they killed it. The Japanese team beat Team Kazakhstan badass, and I know Yuta Watanabe. I didn't see the stats or anything, but I know he was probably the leader for Japan and probably had a monster game and a badass game and stuff like that. So happy to see Yuta having success in international play for Team Japan over there right now. So that's really, really good. Let's see. Monique saying news and notes. The NBA schedule is out next month. I'll be happy to see that because, like, once I see the schedule, I can plan my fall because there is a lot of things that I plan around Raptor games and stuff like that. So I need to get the schedule so I can plan my fall NBA. So bring it to us. We want to see the schedule. Seymour saying 9 points in 11 minutes. Okay, Hawkins, keep it up. He needs more minutes. Yeah, it was really that kind of old school Trent Tucker kind of thing where he's trying to manufacture a huge amount of points in like less than 2 minutes because the score is really bad at the end of the game. And boom, all of a sudden we're only lose by 10 when we were losing by 30 like a quarter before. So I really do like that they made the margin look more respectable by the end of the game, that it ended up being only a 10-point loss. That's way better than a 30-point loss. So kudos to the Raptors for never giving up and giving a good effort all the way till the end and cleaning up the score and making it look a bit better. But yeah, Hawkins, that was what it was. Hawkins getting 9 points real fast near the end of the game with 3 quick 3-pointers really helped that deficit. And he cut about 10 of it off there. Six Candidates saying, why every Halloween I keep seeing adults going trick-or-treating in my neighborhood? Why? Okay, this is a little off topic and interesting out of left field, but you know what? Let's talk about this. All right, these adults are trick-or-treating. Now, I understand if adults are getting dressed up and going to adult costume parties or having fun with their friends, or I can even understand people that just love Halloween and love to just get dressed up, but I cannot understand any adults going to door to get the candy. You don't need to be doing this. Now, listen, if you have some kids and you're kind of doing a tandem costume with them and you go to the door with them and you have a bag also and you just hold it out and maybe you're double dipping, maybe a little bit for yourself, but also you're getting a little bit of extra for your kids and maybe you're going to spread it out among them also. Hey, that's fine. And maybe if you're a preteen and you're like 13, you may look like you're an adult and you shouldn't be out there trick-or-treating, but you're still a kid. You're kind of in the middle, but you look like an adult. See, that's the other thing you got to realize. Sometimes these are still kids. They're just grown up and they look older than they actually are. But yeah, if you're like a real adult and you're trick-or-treating, please stop doing that because it just doesn't make any sense and it's a little weird. So yeah, if you're wearing a costume, make sure you go into a costume party or a bar or a club or something like that. But don't go to somebody's doorstep and ring the doorbell as an adult and try and get candy from someone on Halloween. Okay, there you go. There's my take on this. Six Canada TV, a little bit out of left field, but hey, why not? Okay, Seymour saying, bro, I love Amy. She has great energy. Listen, some people love a little bit more on there. And some people are just like, yeah, maybe she got more attractive to some people. And that, listen, hey, Amy Audibert, you're looking good this season. That's what I'll say, stuff like that. So anyway, all right, let's see. Leslie saying, hey, Lex, who is your new bench mob? My new bench mob is led by Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher is the leader of the new bench mob, and he leads it by hustle and energy and rebounding example. And his bench mob has Otto Porter Jr. on it, has Kem Birch on it, it has Thad Young on it, it has Precious on it when Precious isn't being utilized to start because maybe somebody's hurt. It is all the center, power forward, big guys off our bench. That is the bench mob. Thad Young, Otto Porter, Chris Boucher, Kem Birch, Precious Achua. There you go. And if any of these other guys that are on Summer League or they step up or guys get better, Delano Banton, he could be on the bench mob also. But the other guys, I don't want them on there. I don't want Malachi on it. I don't want Armani on it. I don't want Svi on it. I don't want David Johnson on it. I'm DJ Wilson possibly because he has the right size, but he's going to have to clean up and play better and play more confidently in what way he's playing right now and stuff like that. So yeah, there it is, Leslie. It's a Chris Boucher bench mob led, and it's all like big dudes. There's no guards on it because Scotty and Pascal are the backup point guards in my mind. Patrick saying, not Brooks. I like Flynn, but he's got to show up. Yeah, it's a real disservice in some ways that Malachi is not playing in the summer league. Like, it's really bad for him. It's really bad for Justin Champagny. And these dudes are going to have these other guys come up and steal spots from them if they're not careful and stuff like that. Like, I don't even know. I don't understand. Malachi's sitting over there on the bench with like Scotty and Precious and Pascal. He's not made like those guys are. Those guys are made men on the Raptors. Malachi, you're not a made man on this team. And we'll have to see how you do in training camp, I guess, since we're not seeing you in summer league. It's too bad. All right, I love this. Isaac went and got the stats for me. Yuta had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Top scorer for Japan. Fantastic. Yuta Watanabe. Love seeing him excel and kick ass. You're always going to be a Raptor legend to us. You have Bismack Biyombo status. Do not worry, Yuta. You will always be loved by Toronto, and we will cheer you at whatever team you're playing for, unless it's like the Lakers or some other team that we have to play in the NBA. All right, let's see. Seymour saying Utah is the only undefeated squad. Going to be an interesting game. Yeah, I'd love to hurt them for that. I love to destroy their perfect record in the summer league and like hurt them. You know, Taco Fall's been dominant on the boards. Like, I've been seeing some of his stat lines from the summer league, and he has more boards than points. He'll have like 12 points, 14 boards, and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. Like I said, I want to see Koloko mix it up with big centers. I want to see him have a test. He hasn't really had a good center test in the first 2 summer league games. He will tonight if they play him. And it may be that they don't want to expose him against them. So if we see Koloko not play tonight, just understand that's probably for his own good. So, because it is going to be tough to play Taco. And then, like I said, Coburn's going to be out there, hopefully. And that could be a really fun matchup to see Koloko versus Coburn and see these two young rookie centers battle each other. Because I don't think Coburn, did he get drafted? Did Utah actually draft him? Or did they invite him afterwards, undrafted, to their summer league team? I don't remember. I didn't pay attention to the draft after we drafted. So it could be. So, yeah, Utah will be a lot of fun. There's a lot more length. So a better test for Christian Koloko. And it'll be so fun to see Bruno. Bruno's crazy. Like, he doesn't look anything like when we drafted him. He looks like a man, and he looks way tougher and more capable, more confident, and stuff like that. Man, it'd be so fun to have Bruno on our team right now, honestly. David S. is saying, I don't know why everyone is sleeping on Armani Brooks. Y'all say we need a bench scorer, bench shooter. We need a bench shooter. And before Summer League even started, people were talking about him getting rid of him. I mean, we signed him to that partial deal for a reason. Trust the process. Be patient. It's kind of two things. I totally understand what you're saying as far as the shooting, and that would help our team and stuff. And it did at times at the end of the season last year, that he did do some quality minutes on the main roster Raptors and hit some big threes at different times. I love that. But once again, he does not fit Bobby's mold. He's close, though. Like, in some ways, he's better than Malachi. I said partly because his wingspan is longer. Like, he has a super long wingspan for being only 6'3" or something like that. So he's got a little bit of a more advantage than Malachi in some ways, to me. But also at the same time, my perfect Raptors roster for this season has only one short guy, and that's Fred VanVleet. Nobody else on this team should be under 6'5". The next shortest person should be Gary Trent Jr. And then everybody else on the whole roster should be like long-armed and tall and Bobby's vision. That's the way I see this roster build. And that Armani doesn't fit it. And that I'd rather have more big guys on the team in some ways. But listen, if Armani Brooks makes the team and he's playing for us this season, I'll be so happy too. Because I do trust, as you're saying, the process. And that if they deem that this is the right guy to have a roster spot on our team this season, I'm all for it. And I think you're right. I think after the first game and stuff like that, that he has shown that he can really do something good and stuff like that. So I'm not down on Armani. I'm more down on Malachi. And I think that between the two of them, I'd much rather have Armani Brooks on the team. If we're going to have a secondary point guard that's short on the team, I'd rather have Armani. And I feel like they're kind of both not needed. We don't need both of them. We need just one of them. And in some ways, maybe we're deciding between Armani and Malachi and stuff like that. So I'd rather have I'm in Team Armani than Team Malachi as far as like deciding between the two of them. And that may be important to have that small backup point guard. Let's see. Monique saying if Yuta continues to go off like that, scouts are watching and he'll be back in the league in no time. Yes and no. Yes and no. We'll see. Anything's possible, and we'll see. We'll see. We want the best to happen for him, but like I said, the reality of the NBA is sometimes people only get that one shot. They get their little bit of time, and they never find their way back. They never do. So we'll have to see. Seymour saying 30 teams, 4 games, top 2 play for finals. We still in this. Let's go, baby Raptors. Yeah, I guess we are technically. But everybody's got to lose a game. If there's only one undefeated team, and then we have to be like the best of the teams that lost one game. Statistically, it's not good. Like usually, it is the teams that like are really, really. I don't know. I hope so, Seymour. I'd like to see us get summer league rings, but who knows? Isaac's saying if the Lakers were smarter, they would pick up Yuta. Yeah. Stanley Johnson's worked out real well for them. One of our scraps from years before. And that like he's ingratiated himself. He's actually a starting Laker. Who knows how good Yuta Watanabe would do if he went there and helped them out. Like he is kind of similar to Austin Reeves in some ways. Like they have a bit of a similar kind of game in different ways and stuff like that. So who knows? I love to see Yuta get back in the league. Don't get me twisted. I do want to see him in the NBA. I want him to succeed, but I'm also being realistic here. David S. is saying he is a 6'3" point guard with a 6'9" wingspan, runs fast, plays defense, has long range. Sounds good to me. I'm not down on him, and I appreciate him. And then you know what? Maybe if I looked at all the roster spots and figured it all out with what I was just saying about having the team with just Fred and all big guys, maybe there is enough spots with 17 spots that Armani is that on there and stuff like that. I'm not against Armani being on this team. Don't get me wrong. I think he's done great. He didn't do as good last night though. He did miss his shots though when he had open shots, which is too bad, stuff like that. So just real quick, I'll go over the game just a little bit more. Really good first start of the game. We came out killing them. Delano Banton, 12 points right away. But by the end of the game, he only scored 18 points. That means he only got 6 for like 3/4 of the game. That could be better. Delano, you need to put your imprint on more of the game than just the beginning. Jeff Doughton, solid all the way through. Ron Harper Jr., mixed bag. He had a couple of good spots and then also kind of just didn't do a whole lot. He could have done more with his time. Koloko was mixed bag also. He had 3 blocks. He hit a 3-pointer, but he also didn't get a lot of rebounds and didn't score a lot. Looked a little bad at times. DJ Wilson, really bad. 6 turnovers. Scored a bit, hit 2 good 3-pointers, but like honestly, his bad stuff really looked worse and outweighed any of the good that he did. Hawkins at the end of the game, a couple of 3 really quick 3-pointers, 9 points really quick. Really impressive shooting there. He's definitely needs another look and more time out there to see if he can replicate that some more. David Johnson, complete failure. Really sad to see him do so poorly. David, if anything, like you need to make your 3-pointers. You did not make your threes consistently last year. And this is a prerequisite and an important thing for you to be an important player on the Raptors team, is that you need to make your 3-pointers. And I have never seen you make your 3-pointers consistently in the time you've been with the Raptors, all last season and this year so far. It's like, that's got to change. Like you got to have a game like Armani Brooks had on Saturday where you absolutely shoot the lights out. And we don't see that from you. You miss too much is what I'm saying. Barcelo, like to see more of him. Vital has not impressed me either of the games he's played. I don't really need to see more of him. He's kind of who he is. And like, maybe he just needs to go back to Hamilton and play for the Honey Badgers. Trey Porter, I'd love to see more of him as far as like tonight for sure with Taco Fall. He should be playing a lot. Jalen Sims, interesting scorer. He got two baskets. We could see more of him. Kajab, more of him. And Brooks, you got to play better. You had a really good game on Saturday, and then this one you didn't play as well, only got 8 points and could have scored way more. These opportunities are there for you guys on the Summer League team to take that brass ring and run with it and show that you need a place on this roster for the Raptors and that your opportunities are fleeting. So you better jump on it and do that 8 Mile M&M, lose yourself kind of stuff and do it in the moment now. And that's kind of stuff. So Monique saying, no big deficit tonight, please. Yes. Yes, Monique, please. No big deficit tonight. I blame Trevor Gleason to an extent with his rotations. I've not been happy with the way he's rotating players in and out of these Summer League games. He did okay in the first one. He got away with it. But even then, I don't like when he brings in the first substitution. There's a severe drop-off in quality of play by the Raptors Summer League team when he brings in the first couple guys off the bench. So maybe switch who those guys are and maybe, switch who you bring out. Like you may need to keep Christian in there longer. You may need to have Delano out there just to keep things steady because we didn't have no leader without Delano out there. Delano was obviously the leader of the Raptors in Summer League so far. And when he's not out there, it's a similar effect to when Fred wasn't out there for our regular roster last year at times. So it's like we needed a captain to steer the ship, and we were rudderless in the middle of the game against Chicago yesterday. It was really bad, really, really bad. Patrick's saying, I am with David, Armani, Brooks, along with Porter and Hawkins as our snipers. Yeah, Otto Porter Jr. and Ryan Hawkins, Armani Brooks. Hey. So he likes what David S. is saying. David S. is saying, I'm sorry, Stanley Johnson starting for the Lakers is hilarious. It is hilarious, but it's also, listen, Stanley Johnson's the epitome of everything the Lakers lacked. So, of course, you put him on that team. He looks like he's one of the most valuable players on that team because he's the only one who's willing to hustle or work hard or go get rebounds or do any of that stuff. That's why he's so valuable on that team. And it's hilarious that his career is lined up to this, where he's playing for his hometown favorite team. The Lakers, as a kid, were his favorite team. And then it's a dream that he's starting for the Lakers alongside LeBron James, and he's highly valued because he gives something to that team that they lack anywhere else. It is hilarious, David, that he is such a key guy. David saying that guy was a train wreck, only guy that could get a steal, and somehow the other team ends up with a bucket. I don't want to diss Stanley too much. Stanley was a really good athlete, a blue chip athlete when he got drafted by the Detroit Pistons, and they completely mishandled his early development as a player. The Pistons have a horrible development system. Like Cade Cunningham's a great player and stuff like that, and he'll be great, but that's mostly going to be on his own and not because the team helped him. That, they failed and dropped the ball with Stanley Johnson, and it hurt his NBA career after getting drafted by the Pistons because they didn't teach him or mold him into a good NBA player. And it wasn't until he got to the Raptors that he finally got some good development and switched, but it was almost too late because he'd already been bounced around the league from a few teams. And it's like, he got to the Raptors a little too late, but he salvaged his career, and now he's a serviceable player for the Lakers. But yeah, I don't blame Stanley for a lot of his career path. It really was a bad place that he got drafted, and they didn't know how to develop him in his early years as an NBA player to get the best out of him. But it's great that his career has been salvaged and he's still playing in the league at this point, considering how much he was dropped the ball with as far as developing him. So let's see. Leslie's saying, I feel like Summer League has become more popular now. It's so exciting for us basketball fans. Yeah, you noticed that too? Like there's a couple of different things happening. The games are being more watched. They're more exciting. There's this double overtime, sudden death elimination stuff, these half-court shots. There's been a lot more interesting, fun games. You have players like Chet and Paolo Banchero and Jabari Smith that are excelling. These rookies, people want to see them play. And then you have like established guys like LeBron, Russell, Pascal, and Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet. They're coming to the games and showing them their faces and being there. And it's a very hip place to be. That like part of it's also the NBA 2K23 that they sponsor it. And then they have all these other events around it as far as like video game expo. They have different kind of conventions for the NBA players. Like the rookies get their own kind of convention to teach them how to be NBA rookies. There's a whole bunch of other stuff other than just the games at Summer League in Las Vegas. And that the players love doing it. That's why so many Raptors are there and hanging out. They're, not only did they get the fun of being in Vegas in that atmosphere, but they get to be around each other as a team. They get to be around their coaches. They get to be around the Summer League roster and the young players, and they all practice together at different times. Like what the Summer League will do their own practices by themselves, but then they'll integrate the main roster guys that are hanging around in Vegas, and they'll get workouts with them also. So, they're getting some time with Koloko already, which is good. Fred and Koloko need time out there and stuff like that. So there's so much good about Summer League. And somebody said this week, well, we want Summer League in Toronto next year. It's like, that's not how it works, y'all. Summer League is always in Vegas. And it's the perfect place for it in some ways and stuff like that. But it is getting bigger. It definitely got bigger this year. It seems like it took a jump. And part of it may be the pandemic, Leslie, that like a couple seasons we couldn't do Summer League correctly. And that everybody's like into being back out and being out there and doing stuff together and stuff like that. So that may be part of it also, is the inertia coming from the lockdown and everybody being able to go out and be out and about again too. So David S is saying, I was surprised we didn't see Rodion's last night. I thought he did okay in the first game. You know what happened? He's hurt. He actually was sat out last night. It wasn't because the coach decided to keep him out. He has a cheekbone injury. Apparently, he has a bruised cheekbone or something. That was why he was in the injury reserve list. He was there with Justin, so he was actually on the injury list yesterday. That's why he didn't play. So it wasn't anything like the social justice warriors got through the team and said, okay, we can't play him anymore. He was actually hurt, so that's why. Monique's saying, did anyone notice Griffin was in the huddle last night? Adrian Griffin was in the huddle over there. That's good. Maybe he needed to come over there and help them because things were going so badly in the middle of the game that Adrian Griffin got up out of his seat and he came over and he started helping Trevor Gleason stuff. Trevor Gleason is being reflected on by this team and how they perform, and it hasn't looked good in some points in the game, stuff like that. He needs to save face and really have this team put a strong effort out on the court. The effort in the second quarter and the third quarter last night was appalling. The coach should need to be on them a little bit more. So some of what happened yesterday is on Trevor Gleason, as far as I'm concerned. Seymour saying Chicago calling the win against us convincing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that happened yesterday. We had guys that looked unconfident. We had a void, a vacuum of leadership that just did not get filled, that nobody stepped up and stepped into and stuff like that. And did they call the win? I don't even know. I mean, they could have called the win in the third quarter when they were up by 30, sure. But I'm always that delusional Raptor fan that believes they can come back from any deficit and try and win. And they were definitely trying. It's not like our guys gave up. They gave a strong effort. The guys that came in near the end, and they really tried to play their butts off because they are playing, even in the garbage minutes when the game's out of hand, they're still getting eyes on them and they're getting analyzed. So it's really important that they play well at that time too. So Monique's saying, how happy are we to see Baines after that scary moment in life? Be honest. Kings can have him, though. Yeah, I'm really happy Aaron Baines is in Las Vegas working out for teams to try and make it back in the NBA. This could be a similar thing to like what we're saying about Yuta, is that he takes a year off, he's away from the league, and then he comes back next summer for Summer League and he shows some growth or change or something like Aaron Baines is back and trying to fight to get his career back in the NBA. I hope he's successful, and he could play for the Kings. The Kings could definitely use Aaron Baines probably in different ways. So go to the Kings, go wherever. Is that who he's playing for? I don't know. Good to see another new name, John Hamilton, here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live streaming, talking about Raptors. You guys can come in here and I'll hear you out, talk every single comment, even if it's crazy or weird, even if you're a Philadelphia fan, you're coming in here to talk trash. I'll read it and we'll talk and respond to it. John's saying, I really like Doughton. He may be better than Malachi. I hope he gets a chance as Rap's backup point guard. Yeah. And in fact, you know what? John just pointed something out to me that this isn't a race between Malachi and Armani solely. This could be a Jeff Doughton 3-man race for the backup point guard job on the Raptors. And if you're going by who is the most solid real point guard between the three of them, it's Jeff Doughton right now, because he's showing playmaking ability balanced really well with scoring, capable scoring, high percentage shooting scoring. with really good decisions in passing and stuff like that. So right now, actually, I should have maybe put him. It's just that Brooks was so good in the first game, and Doughton has been consistently good in both games. So yeah, you know what? We need to shine a light on him, and who knows? Maybe he's the guy that ends up with a roster spot on the Raptors this season. I'm all about it because he's looked really solid, and I like what he's doing out there. David S is saying, "Well, we certainly made them look good. That's for sure. We made the Bulls look good. Yeah, they." It was funny too because they had the Bulls general manager come on there and he said, "Well, we're not playing the Knicks, and we look really bad against the Knicks." And he was like, "I'm really glad we're winning this one because this interview would have been so much harder if we were losing this one also." So even their GM wasn't that confident, or assistant GM or whoever he was, about like the Bulls summer league team. They're not that good, and us losing to them yesterday was really bad in some ways, and because we did make them look good as far as them not really being that good and stuff like that. So Leslie saying NBA Summer League is becoming All-Star Weekend, but longer and with all the big stars. Yeah, in some ways. And you know what? Listen, maybe they should do the All-Star kind of stuff at Summer League. Like have an all-star game in the off season with LeBron, Team LeBron versus Team Giannis or whatever, and like do it then and make it kind of like a crown jewel highlight in the middle of the Summer League, stuff like that. Well, we don't do the All-Star game in the middle of the season anymore because we're doing a mid-season tournament, but we could do the All-Star game at Summer League. But this is then again, there's liability issues with players and whether they'd want to play in the middle of the summer. They may be off doing other things and stuff like that. But that's an interesting idea about what if they put the All-Star game at Summer League? Boom. Adam Silver, if you hear me, maybe you want to think about that. That could be very interesting and have a showcase for the established NBA players to just play a fun mess around scrimmage game. It could be very, very not serious because we don't want anybody getting hurt. And that game is always kind of stupid and silly anyway. So why don't we do this? This is what I'm thinking. Because especially if they're going to do this mid-season tournament thing they're talking about, and they really are picking up some steam on doing this, that there may be no All-Star Weekend anymore, and that maybe the All-Star Weekend needs to be incorporated in the Summer League. There you go. Boom. Blackhawk saying, I believe the guys were partying in Vegas. Many of those turnovers looked like they were from exhaustion. I hope it's not the Summer League guys are partying. I think the main roster guys can get away with a little bit of partying and having fun and while they're being there. But those Summer League guys need to be all business and no messing around or anything like that. I'd hate to think that David Johnson's not playing well because he's partying there. I doubt it. Just knowing his personality and the way he is, I really doubt he's one of them. But if any of them are, this is a real easy way to figure out, well, this guy's not that committed if he's going out in Vegas while we're trying to analyze him as a Summer League player. So, yeah, I don't like to hear that, Blackhawk, and hopefully you're wrong. Patrick Douglas saying, thank you. Coach definitely likes David Johnson. Yeah, they liked him last season. But this is the thing. They brought him in from Louisville thinking that he's an all-around scorer, a dead-eye three-point shooter, a guy who could fill up the basket. And he looked like that to me early on last season in Summer League and in training camp. I was like comparing him to like an old-school scorer like Rolando Blackman. I was like, this dude is like the kind of guy who can just fill it up. Well, he's not filling it up anymore, and he's kind of proving me wrong. That's what we bought. That's what we drafted, was an all-around scorer out of Louisville, a good shooter and a guy who can fill it up, and he's not doing it. So that is the role of him, and he's not fulfilling it. So that's the problem right there with David Johnson. Monique saying, I hope Doughton doesn't get added to the 905. He can play right now. Yeah, and a guy like him is kind of maybe sick of toiling in 905 G League and stuff like that. You know, he did last season for Orlando. So maybe he is like, this is part of it. Is like, listen, you guys want me. Well, I might want to go to another team or something like that. You guys want me. I want to play on the regular Raptors. I don't want to play completely on G League, but he probably will have to play in the G League again. Also, like, I mean, how many years is he's like a second or third year player? So he's still got to get some time at that level, but it does look like he could play on main Raptors roster level also. Seymour saying, it must be tough for Koloko being a second round pick, but viewed in expectations of a first rounder. Yeah. That's really kind of an unspoken thing that's true. Like, even though he's a 33rd pick, he's our only like big draft pick. He's our only draft pick this season, and he's the one we're all kind of focusing on. We can't expect him to be like first round draft pick, even though he probably could have been a first round draft pick, and he may succeed like a first round draft pick. But those expectations on him are a little unfair in some ways. That everybody was saying, oh, he's going to take over for Cam. He's going to start for the Raptors right away. No, he's not. We can already tell that he's not going to be starting for the Raptors this season. And it may be that in the depth chart that he's behind Thad, he's behind Chris, he's behind Cam, he's behind Otto, he's behind, and he may be like the 11th or 12th guy on our bench, Christian Coloco. So we have to keep expectations for him fair and reasonable. Even though Seymour is exactly right. He's getting viewed like a first rounder, even though he's a 33rd pick. Blackhawk saying too many sloppy passes, really dumb turnovers. Like there was that one play where they threw it to DJ Wilson and he's trying to turn with the ball and moving too quick, but he didn't bring the ball with him and he lost the ball. These are really dumb turnovers. These are bad turnovers. And some of them were just like through passing. Some of them were just horrible turnovers. And then some of the fouls on the jump shooters from the outside, giving them 3 free throws was absolutely unacceptable. And even the announcer called them out. He's like, I'm going to leave this game if I see people keep fouling the jump shooter. That you don't do that in the NBA. Harass him, get in his face, put a hand in his face, but don't touch him. Don't foul him and give him 3 free throw shots from a fouled three-pointer. Because that happened too many times with our guys too. We're giving Chicago too many free throws from fouling 3-point shots. Randolph Phillips, good to see you again. Has been a bit. I was thinking that they should have an all-star game be Summer League championship game using the best players from each team. Great show. Thanks, man. Yeah, like you mean but the best players from the Summer League. Like you get all the rookies like Chet and Paolo and all those guys, and you put them all together and have a showcase like all-star Summer League game with the players from the Summer League team. Like Delano would be on it because he's 12th in scoring. You put Delano on there, and then you put a whole bunch of the other best Summer League players and have an all-star game that way. That's an interesting idea. That could work, and that could kind of cut out the whole problem of, LeBron and all these other guys don't want to play in the middle of summer in an all-star game when they're kind of resting and not at top form and stuff like that. So let's see. Seymour saying DJ and David were both minus 22. That is bad. Yeah, they were both. Like you can really look at the autopsy of the game yesterday. You see those minus 20s, and you're like, yeah, these guys were a big part of why we started losing in the middle of the game. That they made bad turnovers. They didn't make shots. They just looked bad. They got outplayed, basically. So let's see. David's saying, I kind of agree. Coloco looked absolutely gassed 2 minutes in the game. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe he was a little bit tired, but I don't know. I didn't really see him look too tired. I just looked like he's inexperienced, and he's like still trying to figure out. Like there was that one really good block he had on one guy, but then they got the ball right back, and Naker just went back up and dunked it really super on him. And you looked at him, and he looked disappointed. And this is a normal kind of thing in basketball. You can have a really good shot block, but if the ball goes directly to the other team, and then they just put it back up as a second chance, then the shot block doesn't really matter because they still scored on the possession. And as a shot blocker, he should be upset by that. And he was. You look at his face in that play. He blocks the shot. He has a badass block. He had some really nice blocks yesterday. He did. One of them we came from over from away, and he blocked it. And he had no business coming to get it. But that one in particular, we blocked it, and then they got the ball right back, and Maker just dunked it right next to him. Yeah, that was bad. And you could tell Coloco was frustrated about that. That didn't work out very well. But I didn't see that. I didn't think he was tired. I didn't think that was the problem. I just think that, maybe these guys just didn't have the energy. It's like when we played Philadelphia in the last game of the playoff series in that game 6, we did not have the right energy to match their energy. And the Chicago Bulls' energy was way better than our energy last night. And we just weren't matching it. We weren't playing with the kind of effort that we should play with to be competitive. Stuff like that. Monique saying, why, Lex? Why on Doughton? Why? Because he's efficient. He's a good scorer. And yes, you know what? Listen, maybe it is a small point guard, backup point guard rankings we need to look at. Malachi, Doughton, and Armani. Who is where on that hierarchy and who has the best chance is what we're talking about. Random Gamers here. All right, Philadelphia fan. What's up, guys? And Lexi, been watching the whole stream. Just can't comment that much because I'm at work, but just wanted to stop in and say what's up. What's up, random gamer? All the best to you in Philadelphia, and much love to you and the good fans from Sixers Nation. Yeah, that's right. All right, and Randolph Phillips saying that's right too. All right, y'all. It's just an hour and a half. Didn't want to go too long today. We got a game today, 7 o'clock. Utah Jazz, Taco Fall, Bruno Caboclo, Kofi Coburn. Some big centers on that other side. I want to see Koloko get a good test tonight and get some time against somebody like Taco Fall. Let's see how he does boards with that big man around there swallowing them all up. See if he can battle him for some of them boards. That'd be fun. John Hamilton saying, "What do you think of Hawkins? Played good defense and shot the lights out at the end." Yeah. Yeah, I think that he's a dead eye. He's definitely showing his shooting kind of skill, and that's real important. That like if he can duplicate that and be consistently good shooting, this is something that we're really thirsting for our team. And if he can show it, improve it, and continue to do that, that'll be really good for him and his chances for possibly making the Raptors. So, yeah, I like Hawkins. I like what he did there. Maybe he gets an earlier look tonight than just coming in at garbage time. Maybe he's ingratiated himself to actually get some rotation in early time when the game matters. And maybe he can make an imprint again then also. So, let's see. Randolph saying DJ should have missed Summer League. He's looking like an old man out there. I cannot deny or disagree with what Randolph Phillips is saying here. DJ did look a little out of sorts, and he's a vet. He should look way more capable and better than the rest of those guys. And in some ways, it's not doing him a service being in Summer League right now with them. Maybe we should have just signed him and not played him, but I understand why they're playing him and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like we're having a little bit of buyer's remorse already on his contract. It hasn't even been a week, and it's too bad. David's saying, go Raps, go Armani Brooks. All right, he's in the Armani Brooks camp. Maybe this will be something we talk about tomorrow on the Thursday Think Tank. We'll react to the game tonight, and also maybe we'll talk about the positional battle at the backup point guard spot with these different names and different people like that. Monique's really confident that Ryan Hawkins, if he does not make the Raptors, he's going to get on a roster somewhere else. And she may be very right. So, all right, guys, thanks for being here. Tough loss yesterday, really embarrassing at times, but I'm glad they came back and made it up. And it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be and stuff like that. So we wipe our memories of it and we go out there and we play an undefeated Utah Jazz team at Summer League. And hopefully we kick their ass. Yeah, we kick their ass. But they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough because they have some good size and stuff like that. And we'll have to see how our big man Koloko does against it. Okay, y'all. Thanks again. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I really appreciate everybody in all the comments. Please hit the subscribe button. If you have not hit subscribe and or subscribed to the channel yet, I will be here at 9:30 sharp tomorrow morning to react to the Utah game. And we'll just do a regular think tank kind of stuff that we normally do on Thursday and stuff like that. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak, and have a great Wednesday, y'all. There's a full moon today at 2:30 this afternoon. So think about new intentions about what you want in the new lunar cycle. This is a time where opportunities can be manifested by good, positive thought. So think about that. The full moon is during the day, which is kind of weird, 2:30 in the afternoon. But this is a very powerful time celestially for people to harness unspoken energies that are out there that humankind do not totally understand yet, but they are real and out there. So manifest something in your life positive in the next lunar cycle by really thinking about it, meditating on it, and dwelling on it in this afternoon. So, it could be as simple as I want a Raptors NBA championship 2023 and Scotty Barnes on the All-Star game team and all kinds of other stuff like that. You could think that way. That's usually what I do during full moons. All right, y'all. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Let's go Raptors! Yeah, baby!